this one, so this is one of
Not
mine.
going to tell me that the only thing a man gets from a woman is nasty sex.
How am I not going to tell you that? So you tell me what a man feel he get. No, since you know what a man feel a man get, tell me what a man feels he get. Tell me.
I love that y'all making the point.
Tell me what a man feels he get, Azar.
I'm not a man, so I'm not going to speak for a man.
I'm up out of here.
Bye.
You just spoke for a man.
Bye.
You just sat here for 20 minutes telling me how a man feel what he get. That's all we get.
Aww.
That's not true.
No, listen.
He's telling you.
Exactly. This is why y'all don't want to care what the fuck a man wants.
I care.
She ain't even listening.
Say it, friend. I care.
All we get is sex.
That's your reward.
Let me put that in context.
Yeah, it's your reward. Yeah.
You are not about to buy not one man a motherfucking house. You're not about to buy one man a motherfucking car. You don't got to go bust your ass to buy a car, a house, pay a mortgage.
So is a kid not getting something?
Oh,
is
wow.
he carrying?
It's already been stamped. You're supposed to be the what? Provider. We have the pressure. I have to figure out how to buy this house, build this house, get this house. The Rock, who 10 times the salary for the ring. We have to do all these things. Oh, there's a sound. What is that? Let me go downstairs and.
He's about to say defend the house.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting proposition. I think
you were just saying value propositions and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is again, you guys, you've said this before. Orion Teraband said this. In general, it is more expensive for a man to be in a relationship, and in general, it is more expensive for a woman to be single.
True.
In
We
general,
want a provider.
In general, the proposition is women exchange sex for resources and men exchange resources for sex. In general, that is not always the case. Obviously, I had a commander who was female in my squadron, and she wasn't exchanging either. She was a really good flight. She was a really good pilot. But like for the most part, that's generally how the world works. So when you talk about the value exchange, one of the things he's saying is, I have this burden of performance. You don't necessarily have the burden of performance. And so I think a lot of women don't recognize that. And you remember the famous video clip where the Myron asked the girl, he goes, what do you bring to the table? And she goes, I am the table.
I am the table.
I am the table. It's one of these situations where I do think that certain women are a bit delusional into what they are bringing into a relationship. In general, for women, it's about what they give. And for men, it's about what they give up.
I think that it comes down to a lot of like basic understanding. Like the reason why you get this sort of conflict between guys that like this guy right here and the because the women don't know what to say. They literally don't have any. They've got no other. They have no comeback to it, right? So if the guy says
you're asking the wrong question,
yeah, exactly. And so we've asked this question on this show before, as well as on Fresh and Fit do this occasionally, and sometimes I see it maybe a few times on whatever podcast. But it's like, what do you bring to the table besides your pussy? What do you bring? And I'm saying pussy in the sense of like sex, okay? But like, what do you bring to the table beyond? Like, what's value added do you have past that? And you'll notice that the first thing that the woman says is like, well, that's your reward. Well, that's now you're commodifying it. Now it's a commodity. So I think really what it comes down to is understanding the appreciation of what that guy actually has and what the trade-off, if we're going to look this in commercial terms, if you want to bring it down to that, what the trade-off actually is. I mean, the guy has to be
if I ever was with a woman who quid pro quo rewarded me with sex for anything I was doing, goodbye. I'd be out of there so freaking fast. Are you kidding me? Sex whenever I want. If you're in a relationship with me, there is no discussion. If you have any problem with that whatsoever, that is totally your prerogative. But you are going to have that prerogative with some other idiot, not me. Go ahead. What are you saying, Aria?
Once you're in a committed relationship and you're talking about childbirth, do you not think not only the sex, but like a woman giving up her body?
Absolutely. No, totally. I totally agree. That's not what they would. Yeah, no, I totally agree. That was an extrapolation of what he was saying, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I also think there's other things. Like I think being in a relationship, like, can we? So here's the thing. There's a part. I'm going to describe it this way. There's other ways to describe it. I like to listen to grandma. You want to know why? Because grandma has the experience of age. Grandma knows what it was like to be a virile woman, but grandma's also gone through menopause and doesn't have all that estrogen flowing through her head. Grandma is trying to protect the brand. If you want to talk about like the granddaughter going off with the bad boy and getting pregnant, it's actually grandma who stops that. It isn't dad. Dad wants to stop it. Dad wants to go get the shotgun. But it's grandma who tends to stop it because grandma has some wisdom. Okay. So I actually listen to grandma. So in these type of situations, one of the things I want is a wife who wants to protect the brand, who wants to protect the shield. You know how families used to have a shield, like an emblem? I want the woman who wants to protect the family from the outside looking in. Wants to make make sure the children don't embarrass themselves, the family doesn't embarrass themselves. That's what I want, and also brings peace to the home. When I come home, give me a second before you have to start asking me questions about something you probably got misinformation about or a rumor that you heard. That's what I need. That's what I would want. In addition to what you said about sex and having a child, that's also what I would want from a partner.
What were you gonna say?
I think one thing that's just like very
Talking to the
apparent.
mic.
This is good now. Like I feel like I'm talking in the mic, and then you guys are like talking the mic, and I'm like, eat the mic. It's very apparent that this girl has no respect for men, just how she's talking to him, and I think that's the basis of a lot of the issues and relationships and stuff that happen right now. Is that women have gotten on this thing of like, I'm independent, I can do it by myself, and then when a man comes in, they don't know how to like switch it and give a little bit of that respect him, truly respect him, view his mind, be his peace, and keep it simple.
Yeah. So
that man was yelling at her though.
But why was he yelling at her? Because
they're not together. Like they're just having. He's trying to have a discussion like he would have with me over a football conversation.
But he shouldn't be yelling at her.
But she was cutting him off. I would get upset.
Okay.
See, the disrespect of women, like that's how you love men, is by respecting them. The second that you lose respect, you literally,
yes,
you know,
yeah,
it's
like
so hard for
them anymore.
Women
You don't
believe
respect
this.
them.
Women believe love is like this lava.
Right.
That's just inside of them. I just have this explosion of love and obsession for you. No, it is respect.
Yeah.
It is a straight line. It is, I will do anything to keep you to guard the rear.
100%.
I will do anything to make sure that when you get home from the trip, that the house is in order. That is the respect. That is actually love, because you're giving something up. There's a sacrifice. I have to sacrifice every day. You following your feelings is not sacrifice. You accusing me because you have a feeling about something is not sacrifice. You taking your feelings and subsiding them and actually saying what is best for this relationship, that is actually sacrifice. That's what respect is. Respect comes from some level of sacrifice. Men understand sacrifice. It's the only way we get ahead.
Right.
It's the only way we get ahead is through sacrifice. Women often get ahead through sacrifice, but often get ahead because they're physically attractive to men and they don't have to sacrifice. Often that is also the case. And so because of that, you're right. It is the function. There's one other thing. It was actually Marquette who said this, and I totally agree. There's this thing when men talk to other men of mutually assured destruction. There's a point to which we won't be disrespectful to each other. Why is that? Because we'll fucking fight.
The threat of violence.
Because there's a threat of violence. Because we'll fight. And with women, we'll never fight. That's not cool. You just don't hit women. You don't get into fights with them. And so what happens is we're having a disagreement. And normally, if I was talking to a man, he would know we're gonna keep it at here. We're not gonna let it go to here. I'm not gonna call you out of your name, especially on YouTube. I'm not gonna do that because we're men. We know better. I'll get up and we'll go to fist, and you might win, but you're still gonna get popped in the face. We'll never do that with women, and so women go through their whole life dealing with men who would never have no recourse whatsoever, and they just get louder and louder and louder and crazier. And they're like, "What? He's not going to do anything." And they literally even challenge men. It's like, "Go ahead, do something about it. What, are you going to fight me?" It's like, "What am I supposed to do?" Like I've seen this happen on some of these panel shows. Women will like challenge the men. It's like, "What is he going to do? Going to hit you on YouTube with 20,000 people watch?" Of course, he's not going to do anything. It doesn't mean he's a weak person. It's just he's not going to do that. He's going to get criminal charges. It's not worth it. You're not worth doing that to. And so you get to the point where one side is totally and completely unchecked, and then the disrespect just gets higher and higher and higher, and she doesn't see the problem. Because in the end, you never learn to respect any man, not your husband, not your brother. There's no man. You have no mechanism. There's literally no code in your brain to understand the concept of respecting a man. And then you're just like, wonder why these relationships don't work.
Well,
I have some female friends. I know when they get into a relationship, I'll be like, see you in 3 months, because you are going to be back on these streets, because you will never let a dude tell you shit. And because of that, you are going to be back out here hanging out with me on stage at Zook in 3 months watching Deadmau5, because you can't maintain a relationship because you have never learned how to respect any man in your entire life. And that's the issue. Again, with me, with other men, I'm like, I'm going to be respectful. One, when I respect other men, we can do deals together. We can make money with each other. We understand that concept. We could also beat the crap out of each other. We can also give each other access to other people, other places. That's the way it works. I go play paintball at Bilzerian's house like every weekend, Dan Bilzerian's house. When we go play paintball, there's guys there. I don't know who they are. Some of them are MMA fighters. Some of the guys are Deca millionaires. Some of these guys, but we're all super respectful because like Dan invited us all here for some reason. We all have something going on. Well, whenever we do that, we're hyper respectful. You will never see dudes talking shit to each other ever. And the reason why is because we can beat each other up, we can deny access to one another, and we all have the potential of making money together. So let's be respectful. But when you don't have that between men and women, they just start screaming at you. And then it's like, what am I supposed to do? You just got to get up and leave. And that's the problem. That's where this whole thing comes from. And so the ability to say, this man has done so much for me. He's provided a home for me. He protects me. I should, of these other dudes, fuck them. This guy I'm going to show respect to. No matter what, I'm going to protect the brand. You do that, ladies, any of you listening, you do that, you find a husband, a good husband. All these things you're complaining about, that other woman doing her makeup, talking about toxic men, you'd have a man right now if you understood that one concept.